Welcome to Coach's Corner on Beaver County Radio. Tonight's show will also be live streamed on our Facebook page at WBVP-WMBA. Coach's Corner is brought to you by Junction Auto Service, McGee Heating and Air Conditioning, Geneva College, Fishers New Brighton Foodland and Beaver Falls Save-A-Lot, the Community College of Beaver County, the J&J Spratt Funeral Home, and the Beaver Falls Municipal Authority. Now let's take it to our host for tonight's edition of Coach's Corner on Beaver County Radio.
Beaver County Radio, we're with head coach of the Ambridge Bridgers, Mr. Sherman McBride. Sherman, welcome to the show.
Glad to be here. Appreciate it.
Well, a lot of people in Beaver County know about you. Of course, you're a longtime assistant coach at the for Aliquippa, for the Quips, and still the head track coach for Aliquippa. We could talk about that a little bit later, but now in your second year as head coach of the Ambridge Bridgers, you decided after a lot of those years it was time. You told me it was time to be a head coach. You wanted to do it, and you decided to do it at a cross-river rival, the Ambridge Bridgers. Talk about the decision to be a head coach and to take the Ambridge position.
Well, first of all, let me tell you about rivalries. Rivalries are only good when one team is winning.
Yeah.
And, one team is winning. And so we haven't had that luxury to get to that point, but I believe it was that time. It was that time for me to try. I talked to the Godfather, Coach Yanessa, and I talked to Mike Spianik and Frank Morocco, and they all agreed that it was that time for me to, take that step. So, looking forward to the challenges and everything that, sets upon me at Ambridge, and we'll take it from there.
I know I'm going to revert to a conversation me and you had a year ago when you came in. I don't know exactly when it was the first day or first week, but you told me that, you had to instill some discipline. It was going to be the way you wanted to do things, and kids were either going to listen or they were going to not be with the program. And you had some kids leave, but this year, a lot more kids come back. But the one thing you told me, you told the kids, Darryl Weaver didn't give me any lip. Law didn't give me any lip. And you went through a plethora of not only Aliquippa great players, but college great players and Hall of Famers, and you said if they didn't give me a lip, you guys weren't getting me a lip. Now, did you do that right away? When did that come along?
No, that came along with the first speech, because, no matter what you do in life, there's only one way, and it's the right way. So being that first day we installed, and I say, look, you guys, I'll lead, and you guys will follow. And Darrell Reeves, Ty Law, Jonathan Baldwin, Tommy Campbell, Mike Washington. I didn't get no lip from them. They bought into what we were doing. You see the success that they had, so I'm looking forward to you guys buying into what we're trying to do, and hopefully you guys will go in that same direction that those gentlemen did.
John?
Sherman, I know you've been the head track coach at Aliquippa for a long time, so you know what it's like to run a program. And you had a lot of responsibility at Aliquippa, more than the average assistant coach has. How different is it, though, once you take over your own program and you are the guy in charge now?
Well, it was a lot different. I was blessed, like you said, at Aliquippa, where Mike gave me the opportunity to do a whole lot of things. So I was like his co-pilot at that time. But, as the time led up to me at Ambridge, the responsibilities were a lot different, because no matter what I did at Aliquippa, Mike was still the head coach. But these decisions that had to be made, I was going to be the man in charge that was going to be making those decisions. So, with the help of, like I said, those gentlemen, led me in the right direction.
And also, I know when you got there, Ambridge had been on a long losing streak, hadn't had a whole lot of success. And what attracted you to that job, though? Why Ambridge? I'm sure there's probably other opportunities over the years that might have been a little easier to glide into than a program that had been on a long losing streak. What was it about Ambridge?
Well, it was a challenge. I mean, you look at what they haven't won a game since 2000, maybe 15, and I think it was more or less a challenge. But back in the days, we all remember the last game of the year was always Aliquippa versus Ambridge. So I thought I had the opportunity to pour some magic into the Ambridge program, and like I said, see where the chips might have fell.
Let's talk about last year. 3 seniors, I believe only 1 played, a handful of juniors. You had sophomore and freshmen playing, a lot of them starters on the line, a very, very young team. You make the playoffs. This year, still incredibly young. Yeah, you have some seniors contributing, but a lot of people don't know you still have the majority of your team is very, very young. And despite some successes, still a bit of a roller coaster. But in your mind and a lot of people's mind, the best is yet to come.
Well, that's true. That's true. The good thing about starting freshmen is that they become sophomores, and from sophomores they become juniors. So I told them guys when I first got there that the best would play, no matter if they were freshmen, sophomores, seniors, the best would play. So I think that gave those guys in mind that they would have the opportunity to contribute one way or another.
Last year I saw your team 3 times, saw when you clinched the playoffs, saw an early season game, and you could just see the progression in some players. There's still a little bit of up and down. You make the playoffs, and I was fortunate to get through the call of the Freeport game at Freeport. Mm-hmm. And, there were times you were the better team on the field, and you had control of the game. There were times they were. It was back and forth, could have been anybody's game, but it was one play. There was a fumble, and then your team just they gave up a touchdown, 3 and out, gave up a touchdown, and the game was essentially over. And I go back to what you told me, teaching them how to win, learning how to win. And I suspect from talking to you, it seems to be that is one of the most challenging things in taking over a program that's lost.
That's the biggest challenge, because when the good and bad thing about that whole thing, that 9th grade class that I have coming in, they lost 1 game, so they know how to win. Mm-hmm. But the hardest thing about it, that you have sophomores and juniors that was a part of that losing streak over in Ambridge. It's kind of bad because you have upperclassmen that don't know how to win, and you're looking for the younger guys to try to bring it back. But like I said before, I have 8 to 9 freshmen starting on this team, which are sophomores now. So sometimes it takes a little bit longer for these guys to learn.
John?
Sherman, you say to learn how to win. And, I mean, obviously I know you have more wins in your future, but you have won. You won a couple games last year, which was certainly a step forward. You won a game this year. You've been competitive in both your losses.
Right.
As a coach, and I know you've been on the other end of it, going back to really when you were a kid, all the way up through high school, college, and coaching, to being on the other side of that and really knowing nothing but winning. How gratifying is that when you see your kids now, who weren't used to winning, starting the light bulb go off in their head a little bit, maybe like, hey, we can win, we can be competitive, we can go out there and be respectable.
I understand. I mean, it started a little bit last year with the couple wins we had against Hopewell and the win we had against Quaker Valley to get in the playoffs. So I think the feeling of them kids knowing that we're at least headed in the right direction. Yeah. There's a direction that we have to go. So if we continue to get off the roller coaster with the up and down, and have some consistency in what we're trying to do, and they're buying into the program, I think we'll be fine.
We're with head coach of the Ambridge Bridgers, Sherman McBride, and in our next segment, we're going to talk to one of his assistants. A lot of you Loyal listeners know who he is, an assistant coach. It's Tommy Campbell. He'll be next. But we'll take a break here on WBVP, WNBA, 99.3 and 95.7 Beaver County Radio.
There's no place like Community College of Beaver County.
Confidence happens here.
Connection happens here. Opportunity happens here. Your best you happens here. Your future happens here. Home is here. At CCBC, you're right where you need to be to find real learning for real life. And there's still time to join us. Enroll now through October 14th for fall mini-mesters. Same classes, less time. Visit ccbc.edu/fall. You belong here.
Are you in high school and thinking about your future, or know someone who is? Consider Geneva College. Geneva is a Christian college that prepares students for meaningful service and their life's work. Geneva has over 145 majors and programs, 18 varsity sports, 100 study abroad programs, and lots of club activities. And Beaver County scholarships help to make a Geneva education affordable. Learn more by visiting geneva.edu. That's geneva.edu.
Did you know Fisher's New Brighton Foodland is as close as a click? That's right. If you're watching or listening to this broadcast online, open up a new window and click GroceryStoreNewBrighton.com and start shopping right now. Fill your grocery order from New Brighton Foodland and follow Beaver County High School football all at the same time. What could be better? Fill your shopping cart up without ever leaving the sidelines. Visit GroceryStoreNewBrighton.com.
You can run out and buy a new car if you can find one or afford one, or you can take good care of the one you have. Take it from Steve at Junction Auto Service. It's all about maintenance. A lot of things have changed in the past few years, but taking care of your car isn't one of them. Now more than ever before, it makes good sense to maintain the vehicle you have, and nobody does it better than Junction Auto. Mention you heard this ad and get 10% off any visit. Visit junctionautoservice.com or stop by their location at 425 Constitution Boulevard, New Brighton. No matter what the circumstances, no matter the reason, one of the few things that is left when a loved one passes on are the memories. Staging those memories in an honoring way is one of the reasons so many people have chosen J&J Spratt Funeral Home. A person's legacy depends on a lifetime of accomplishments and then how they are remembered. J&J Spratt Funeral Home has helped start the process of creating positive legacies for over 70 years. Visit jjsprattfh.com. Joseph M. Spratt, Supervisor and Funeral Director.
Get your furnace tuned up and fall into savings. Just call Keller Heating and Cooling now through the end of November and get $250 off a new system. A new Daikin system features up to a 12-year warranty. Keller Heating and Cooling is locally founded, Beaver County based, and family owned, serving Beaver County and surrounding areas. Keller firmly believes in supporting small businesses which help the community they call home. Whatever your HVAC needs, call Keller Heating and Cooling, 412-628-2207.
We're back on Coach's Corner, Beaver County Radio, alongside broadcast partner John Perrotto. We're with a big name in Beaver County, former Aliquippa Quip and former University of Pitt player, Edinburgh, Cal, Tennessee Titan, Jacksonville Jaguar, also played in Canada, assistant coach of Ambridge now. Also, you were an assistant coach at Aliquippa for a while. Tommy Campbell. Tommy, welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you. Thanks for having me here.
So now you're a coach. You were a player for a lot of years. You've experienced it all. Kids are kids. You know, when you got into this, how many kids, the Quip kids probably knew who you were.
Yeah.
When you come to Ambridge as a coach, did the kids know who you were? Or did you have to tell them, hey, you better Google my name and see? I mean, what was it like?
I don't really pull the Google card all like that. But some of the kids knew who I was. Some of them didn't. You know, the ones that once they realized who I was, they start, buying in and listening to me more. So it kind of helped that, they realized I was a professional football player and everything else.
How long did it take when Sherman asked you? I'm sure he probably told you he was interviewing for the position, but when he asked you, was it a thing where, hey, Tommy, do you want to come with me? Did you have to think about it, or were you all in with him right
Nah,
away?
you know what's crazy? Because I was going back to play. I was supposed to be going back to play football.
Okay.
Then the pandemic happened, and that's when I decided, to retire.
Mm-hmm.
But I was only going over for a couple of days, but when I went over there and I seen the kids, and I ended up, building a relationship with these kids, so I ended up staying on and helping share them out.
Now, as a coach, a couple years as a coach, obviously it's different than playing. You get the itch when the kids are out there. How tough is it? A lot of people say it's tough when you're a very good player to be a coach because you expect so much out of them. Other people say, it's the people that aren't good players that make good coaches. What's the transition like from being a coach, or from being a player, to being a coach and trying to get the best out of kids?
I mean, it hasn't been much of a transition for me. I got like one rule I always, if I couldn't do it, then I ain't gonna ask you to do it. So if it's something that I can do, then I would ask the player to do it. But I still understand these is high school kids, so I make it simple as possible so they can play fast. So that's what I do.
John?
Tommy, obviously you've experienced a lot of football, high level in high school, high level in college, high level at D2 and NFL, CFL. Sometimes I know people say when you're a good player like that, it's hard to translate that as a coach because obviously the kids you're coaching, most of them aren't ever going to play at that level. Do you find that you have to adjust to that a little bit and not maybe get too deep over their heads with stuff, or how do you go about that?
I treat every kid the same, and I coach them the same. I coach them as if they are preparing to go to the next level. And a lot of them, believe it or not, you can see the progression that they make when you treat them like young professional athletes and things like that. And the progression is like it's amazing how far they come. I got a corner who never played corner a day in his life, the receiver McKnight, and he didn't give up a catch yet all season. So he's going to be a terrific player.
How good does that make you feel as a coach when you see your players, you coach them up, you teach them what to do, then they go out and they start doing what you were hoping they would do?
It makes me feel great, but more importantly, I'm more happy for them because I had my time as I'm trying to help these kids have their time. So that's what it's all about. I'm trying to help these kids, develop them on a football field the correct way, teach them how to cover every route there is possible, how to tackle the right way, how to do things right on and off the field so they can have success with whatever it is they want to do afterwards.
Tommy, let's talk about some of the kids. We'll talk to Sherman later. We're hoping to get a couple of the kids to come, but they're at the junior high game, which is good because the kids in high school supporting the youth. We saw a lot of youth players at the games. But let's talk about, you mentioned Tyler McKnight, there's Trent McKnight, the twins, Adam Fernandez, their receivers, and DeHaven Ivory, quarterback, just four of the talented players. Let's talk about some of those talented kids and the progression and what you've seen in improvement in some of those kids from last year to this year.
DeHaven, we was at practice today, the quarterback. I told Sherman his confidence is going through the roof. You could just tell the way he's walking, the way he's leading the huddle, just the little things. 'Cause that's what matters most in this game. You got Tyler. He never played football until he was in 9th grade. That was his first time playing. Never played again. But you can see the development in him. Same thing with his twin brother. And Adam, we started Adam last year as a freshman at wide receiver, but he's going to be a better cornerback. Ain't nobody going to be able to guard him at receiver in a couple of years.
Right.
But he's going to be a better cornerback once he start understanding the game,
Another thing, too, a lot of the folks that have been following Ambridge football, last year it might have been one running back. Adam, you mentioned, but this year there's 3 or 4 guys running the ball. You see guys coming in and out of the game at offensive line and on defense. So the depth has increased. Kids see what you guys are doing, and your numbers are better, whereas around the WPL and in Beaver County, a lot of schools, even or dropping, you guys gained, 8, 9, 10 players. That has to mean something to you guys as coaches.
Oh, no, without a doubt. That just means that the culture is coming. That's one of the first things we had to establish whenever Sherman came over. It was the culture to get these kids to get used to winning, whether it's 1 game, 2 games, or whatever. Winning is a habit. It's something that takes time and time. You got to do things over and over and over and over again. That's what these kids is doing. They're going to continue to do so.
John?
Tommy, I know Sherman said about teaching how to win. You know how to win. You won a lot of games, especially in high school, a whole lot of games. How do you go about in your role to teaching how to win? I mean, is it more by example or more by talking about it, or how do you go about it?
You got to demand excellence from every day. So that's what we do at practice. We demand perfection every day. So when a game comes, kids gonna make mistakes. They're still kids. So if I get you playing in 100% at practice, when a game comes, you're gonna be at 85. So the key is not to be practicing at 85. Then when the game comes, you drop to 60. Yeah. You see what I'm saying? So that's just the key, just to be able to be consistent with whatever it is you're doing.
And I asked Sherm this, and I'll ask you too. When you see things starting to come together, and you won a couple games last year, and they hadn't won in a long time, and now you're competitive. You won a game this year, and you've been competitive in all 3 of your games. How gratifying is that from a coaching standpoint to see your players get better? And
it's very satisfying. You know what? Like them kids, they happy. Y'all been to the game. You see how the stands is. That was like a Thursday night football game almost. Everybody is buying in over there. The kids is buying in, and more importantly, everybody is happy. So we're just gonna keep doing that and keep negative things off our team and away from the program.
Well, everybody knows it's not just Sherman. It's not just yourself, but yourself and the other coaches. What kind of leeway does Sherman give you on your positions? And I mean, obviously he oversees everything you do, but how does he operate with you guys? Does he hold you to the same standard he's holding the kids to? Talk to us about what it's like with all the coaches.
I mean, of course. I mean, he holds us to the same standard. He can't hold us to a different standard from the kids. Then we making mistakes, and then how can we make sure the kids don't make mistakes?
Good point.
So, everything is like clockwork with us, and we just gonna keep chopping away at this wood before we break through.
What, in your opinion, from when you guys took over last year to now, at this point in the season, what is the biggest improvement? First question, biggest improvement you've seen in the program?
The way we practice.
Okay.
The way we practice, everybody's there. Everybody's buying in. Because now if you come late or whatever, we just ask you to text. But if you come late and you don't have no legitimate reason, everybody knows the punishment. There ain't no fuss, no fighting. They do the punishment with no complaints, and we just everybody's buying in.
Okay, that's the improvement. Second part of the question is, your second year, what do you think still needs to be improved with the program? Things that need to keep stepping up and need to get better.
I know you gotta remember, because I remember I heard them say the kids we starting all sophomores with it, so it's just experience.
Okay.
So this year we're gonna make some noise. Next year the expectations need to be raised even higher, and the year after that we expect to go all the way. That's just what it is.
John?
Tommy, I was wondering what made you want to get into coaching once your playing career came out?
You know what? I didn't plan on coaching.
Really?
I didn't plan on coaching. I came over there to help Sherman out for a couple of days. I was going to work with defensive backs. Then, he asked me to stay on. And, the kids, the ninth grade class who's now sophomores, I'm like, all right, I'll keep coaching these kids until they seniors, and I'll be done. Yeah. But, being around these kids, you develop relationships with them. You want to see them do well, because at the end of the day, these kids going to one day be men. Yeah. So I want these kids to be the best version of themselves that they can be.
Yeah. And, did you ever think when you were a player you'd be a coach? I mean, did it even cross your mind ever like, well, one day my playing career is going to end like everyone's does? Did it ever cross your mind, like, maybe someday down the road I'll be a coach, or is this like totally by surprise?
Nah, because everybody always hit me up to train their kids and do all that. I work with a few here and there, but I really didn't plan on being a coach. I just wanted because I don't really watch sports, believe it or not. Once I do football, you gotta have balance and everything. So once football is over, I'm done with it. So it was just one of those things where I found relationships with the kids. So I decided, the best thing to do is just help these guys out.
Well, Tommy, you're not far removed from obviously the pros in college. Not that much older than the kids. Most of the kids probably 15, 16, 17 years. So a lot's still the same, but talk to us about what it's like as a kid on a team, coming out there on a Friday night with the lights on, and your teammates, your friends, what it's like to come through that tunnel. Tell us about that experience.
I mean, it's a wonderful experience. Don't nothing beat it. Even on Friday night, the kids get me. When everybody bring it in, they want me to come in there and help lead them and get them all hyped up. So I got to bring the player out sometimes. So I got a player side, a coach side, and I got a Tommy Campbell side. So I try to show these kids all my different personalities of who I am.
What's it like on the sidelines now as a coach? things are going good, you're driving, or the defense is playing well, and then one bad play happens. You get down, but you can't let the kids see you down. You got to stay positive. I mean, what are you saying to the kids? Those are teaching moments when things go wrong. A lot of people don't realize that, but if you look closely on the sideline, you'll see coaches talking to players. There's not a lot of yelling and screaming, because they're down as it is. What are you saying to kids? How are you trying to keep them up and keep them positive?
You just tell them, it is what it is. The bad play happened, but you got to just keep them moving. Because when it's all said and done, most of the time, the 11 kids that's on the field stay on the field when they're on defense. So it's really hard to make corrections on the fly during the game. So really, you want to make those corrections during the week. So and then you don't want to come down to on a kid and they lose their confidence. Because confidence is a real big thing in playing this game.
We're with Tommy Campbell. I'm Mike Izzadi and John Perrotto alongside. We're going to have Sherman McBride join us again. We're going to take another break. I want to thank Pizza Joe's in Beaver for providing the pizza for us. Thank you to them. Thanks to all of our other sponsors as well. And take a quick break here on WBVP 1230, WNBA 1460, 95.7 and 99.3 FM, Beaver County Radio.
McGee Heating and Air Conditioning in Aliquippa has been in business for nearly 60 years. Now that's experience you can count on. When you call McGee Heating and Air Conditioning at 724-375-7112, they'll answer your call 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Sue Curlin and her winning team service most brands, and McGee Heating and Air Conditioning is locally owned and operated. As always, they wish their best to our local teams. McGee Heating and Air Conditioning, Main Street, Aliquippa.
Carver Construction in New Brighton is proud of all of our local football teams. They know what it takes to be a winner. It takes dedication, talent, and desire to do your best. All the things Carver Construction offers its customers. They've been doing it since 1982 for both residential and commercial renovations. Carver Construction, 1090 3rd Avenue in New Brighton. Building dreams one home at a time. Call 724-847-1572 or visit their website, carverconstructionpa.com.
There's no place like Community College of Beaver County. Confidence happens here. Connection happens here. Opportunity happens here. Your best you happens here. Your future happens here. Home is here. At CCBC, you're right where you need to be to find real learning for real life. And there's still time to join us. Enroll now through October 14th for fall mini-mesters. Same classes, less time. Visit ccbc.edu/fall. You belong here.
Scoring big at dinner doesn't necessarily have to mean getting the score run up on your family food budget. Level the playing field by shopping at Beaver Falls Save-A-Lot. There's a reason why they say your dollar goes far at Save-A-Lot. Maybe it's time to switch teams, and while you plan for a big playoff run, head out on a grocery store run. Even when time is running out, being able to park close to the door and find what you need in an instant without wading through a maze of aisles makes Beaver Falls Save-A-Lot the right call.
Are you in high school and thinking about your future, or know someone who is? Consider Geneva College. Geneva is a Christian college that prepares students for meaningful service and their life's work. Geneva has over 145 majors and programs, 18 varsity sports, 100 study abroad programs, and lots of club activities. And Beaver County scholarships help to make a Geneva education affordable. Learn more by visiting geneva.edu. That's geneva.edu.
We're back on Coach's Corner. Mike Izzadi and John Perrotto, the two guys that make it happen. Two of the guys that make it happen on Ambridge football. Head coach Sherman McBride rejoins us, Tommy Campbell. Guys, we didn't have any players come today. They're at the junior high game. And one thing that I noticed, and I think it's important to you guys, is that the older kids are showing the younger kids and being examples. Because I know from going to Quip games where kids come back to games and make themselves shown. And then you have a lot of younger kids coming to the games now. So it's about the community, it's about the kids. And I don't mind the kids not being here. Talk to us first, Sherman, about your kids and how they're examples for the younger kids.
Well, it's always good that the kids that's older are leading the kids that's younger. We've when the season was starting, we went up to the midget program.
Okay.
We had a camp for 2 days for the midgets that we had around 200 kids.
Mm-hmm.
We had around 200 kids because they were lacking as far as participation
Okay.
from the programs, all 4 programs, and we had 200 kids. We had a program ourselves with our coaches, and we had over 200 kids. And then once a week, we send one coach up to the midget programs to let them know that we're behind them 110%, you know, and we try to involve our kids to go up to a midget program to help them out. So just the point of them knowing that we got their back, that gives us the opportunity because we had over 100 kids at our game last week.
Right.
We had youth programs, so we had over 100 kids at our sideline. And you know the good thing about it, you know, you have a co-pilot like him. Tommy made sure after we finished pregame that all of our kids lined up
Yes.
and smacked hands
Saw 'em.
with all the kids on the midget program. So in football, as you know, just like in life, it's the little things that count.
Tommy, last segment we talked about, you're not that far removed from this. When you were a kid growing up, going to Quip games, what did it mean to you to see those guys coming back? The older players, the kids that made it in college, the kids that made it in the pros. What did it mean to see those guys coming back and the older kids showing an interest in you?
I mean, it meant a lot growing up there, especially, you know, watching, you know, seeing, you know, a guy like Josh Slade was like a celebrity when he was in high school,
Right.
you know. So I'm a little kid, you see a guy like that, you know, so that was like a big stepping stone, you know, just to be able to smack hands and see him out in public or whatever the case may be. It made you feel good about yourself.
John?
Sherman, I wanted to ask you about getting the community support again. And I mean, you know, you've been to many games at Ambridge when you were an assistant, and it's a good football town. And when the team's winning, they get big crowds there at Mo Rubenstein Stadium. How much have you been able to get the community excited again in Ambridge football, and how much does that help when you have the community and not just the school, but the entire town and economy in Baden and everywhere that makes up the school district kind of get excited about Ambridge football again?
Well, nothing lacking from my assistants or everything, but everybody wants to see the face.
Yeah.
You know, so we've been going around town. We've had things being done at the pizza place, Ambridge Pizza Place. We've done things at Shop and Save. I mean, any little thing that we can bring our players out as well as our coaches to participate in any little thing that's going over in Ambridge. I mean, we've gone to soccer games. I mean, I have 2 kids, that's my kicker and my punter, that are soccer players. I mean, sometimes you have to go places that you normally don't go, but these people are excited about, you know, seeing us there, you know, and that helps us out as far as come Friday.
You know, back in the day, it was the old Parkway Conference, and it was Ambridge and Blackhawk and Central Valley and Montour and Newcastle and West A. And then for a few years, you know, last year included, Ambridge was playing some others, Quaker Valley, Hopewell. With 6 classifications, things changed, but now back in a pretty tough section. Aliquippa, Ambridge, Blackhawk, Central Valley, Char Valley, Montour, Newcastle, West Allegheny. It's tough, but I'm sure, Sherman, you would have it no other way to have a tough schedule because the kids aren't going to learn unless you're playing tough opponents.
Well, you know what? Last year alone, we had a tough schedule.
Yes.
We played Central Valley. We played Aliquippa. We played
Wheeling
North
Central.
Catholic. We played Wheeling Central. So to be the best, you have to play the best. And the good thing about it is the way we're going right now is like I told the kids, we have to give ourselves a chance. You have to win the games that you're supposed to win, and put yourself in position to be in the fourth quarter to have a chance to win the game at the end.
Now, Tommy, you in high school played for Aliquippa, and you used to winning. Won a lot, rarely lost. And everybody knows the storied history. So you played on some winning teams, some championship teams. Now you're coaching and trying to turn around a team that hasn't had success. So it's a little different. You've had some tough losses. You've had some losses that were, where you weren't competitive. But now you're to the point where you're in games, you're competing, you're dominating at times. Talk to us about the difference between, I don't want to say winning easily, but a winning culture, always winning, to not, trying to teach them how to win, learn how to win. The differences between what you.
It's just all come down to habits and doing things the right way all the time. That was the big thing about from last year to this year. We doing things more consistently. If you look at the game we just had, we played 2 good plays, 3 good plays. We missed a tackle and then go for a long run. They couldn't really put drives together. So it's just about doing the correct things over and over and over again. That's what we're doing. I mean, it's still a process. Again, these kids are still 13, 14 years old. Usually when you have a team like that, you will have a young position group, you have a young defensive back group, older D-line. But we young everywhere.
Mm-hmm. Sherman, when things go wrong in a game, as Tommy said earlier in the last segment, it's tough to teach on the fly because a lot of the kids are playing on both sides of the ball. I'm guessing a lot of the teaching is going on Monday, Tuesday, maybe film room stuff. Will you show kids what's going wrong? Talk to us about the kids. Are they learning from their mistakes? And have you seen them getting better at practice, seen them getting better at games? Tommy also mentioned the confidence of your quarterback. Talk to us about how kids are learning not only from season to season, but from week to week.
Well, it's called repetition. No matter what you do, it's called repetition, repetition, repetition. You have to keep going over the same thing over and over again. And being that we have like 9 or 10 starters and sometimes 11 in the game, we have to, like Tommy said, we have to coach on the fly. But the thing is, I tell my guys, the next play is the most important play. Mm-hmm. And that's what we're building off, the next play. No matter what, right or wrong, we're worrying about the next play. So hopefully, that'll lead us in the right direction of, getting these kids focused and doing the right thing.
Got a million questions in my mind. I'll get to John in a second, but I got another one popped up in my head. Tommy, let's ask you this. You were used to, as a player, different leaders. And when you're a winning culture, there's always leaders, and there's always leaders stepping up. Now, talk to us about who the leadership is in the locker room with the kids, not coaches. I would imagine, I think I know who it might be, but talk to us about who your leaders are and how they've stepped up.
Some of the young guys are actually the leaders. You got DeHaven leads.
Right.
He leads vocally.
That's your quarterback, DeHaven.
Dante, one of our sophomore linemen, he's a good leader. We got a defensive back. I call him Grant. His nickname is Sunshine.
Okay.
But
Sunshine.
Sunshine.
Like that
lead by example.
Right.
Remember the Titans, right? He came in with the long hair one day like that, so it was just like that. So the nickname stuck with him.
That's good.
But it's just about being a leader ain't just yelling. Sometimes being a leader is doing example. So we got different types of leaders in every group.
But I mean, have you seen kids from last year to this year taking to what you guys are doing, and then it's not like you guys forcing it on them just taking it by the reins and taking that leadership? Because it's hard to force a kid, hey, by the way, I need you to be our leader. Mm-hmm. The kids have to kind of do it on their own.
No, they've been doing it on their own. That comes with the buying in. That comes with the process. They buying in, so the team, and they know the kids. This is y'all team. This is y'all defense. Y'all. If y'all don't like it, then we don't got to do it. Meaning a defensive play or whatever. Right. Not saying how we do what we're gonna do at practice, but they understand that. Then they know that.
John.
I know it's getting a conference season. You play your first conference game this Friday, so things start to get a little more real as far as the competition level. Where do you think your team is ready, as far as being ready for conference? And also, you play at Blackhawk, and they got off to a rough start, but then they had a good win against Mars last Friday. What kind of game do you expect from Blackhawk, and where do you think your team is ready as far as taking that step into conference play?
Well, no matter what, Blackhawk is going to be Blackhawk. Like he said, this is the old Parkway. You're going to get rough and tough teams. From Newcastle, from the Blackhawks, from the Quips, from Central Valley. Our job from the beginning is, like I told these kids, give yourself an opportunity. Come. They're taking 4 teams. All we want to be is in that top 4, no matter what, where we at 1, 2, 3, or 4. Just get yourself in position to be one of the top 4 teams coming out of the conference. So that's our goal right now, and it all starts, like you said, on Friday.
Let's talk a little bit more about some of your players. We mentioned your quarterback, David Ivory, and how he's improved. I've seen him improve from last year. I've seen him improve from week to week. Last week, a couple real nice touch passes. It seems like he's more confident in the huddle, more confident when he goes back and knows when the pressure's coming. Tommy, you talked about that, that you said you told Sherman that he seems to have more confidence.
That's it.
It just seems like, even from a broadcaster standpoint, from one week to another, or from last week to another, he just seems like a better player.
Yeah, he just continue to progress. We just continue to do things right. You know, it all starts with how we do it in practice. It ain't like he ain't doing things wrong in practice and then showing up doing it right on Friday. It's the way he practices. Practice habits is up par right now.
Sherman, we've mentioned wide receivers, the stars. Those guys can't do anything unless you have offensive linemen, tight ends. And, of course, they're not going to be on the field unless the defense is stopping people. Talk to us about some other guys, maybe that have stepped up from last year, or kids that maybe surprised the staff and grabbed the starting position, kids we don't hear about on a daily basis.
Well, it's kind of hard to anybody to sneak up because the simple fact, like I said, we started 8, 9 freshmen,
right.
So now they're sophomores.
Got to be somebody though in your mind.
We have Stacy Jones.
Okay.
We have Stacy Jones. He plays defensive tackle for us. We have a great linebacker that's one of the seniors, Zapula Lewis.
Right. Oh, I love him.
He's a great fullback as well as a great defensive player. We have the running back Carlito,
right,
who's number 32. Like you said, we have 2 or 3 running backs that we can put in at all time. Our defensive line with the Sheffield, we have the Prentice kid. We have Fuchs. We have some guys, and the good thing about it is that they're all sophomores
and they're young.
Yes.
One thing I want to touch on, I didn't in the first shift, and a lot of people may not know this, and we don't have to get into a lot of detail, but last year I go to the Freeport game. You're in the corner of the end zone. You're in the end zone like the general, and you got guys on either side, almost like security, and I go to try to talk to you, and they're like, hold up, who is this? Who are you? And I said, I need to talk to Sherman. And you waved me on, and I come and talk to you, and I said, well, how's it going? What's going on? And you told me that one of your leading players wasn't going to play. Broke a team rule, and you basically told him, better hope we win because you may have played your last game. And you didn't give in on it. Mm-hmm. It was a team or a school rule. Mm-hmm. Talk to us about what the rest of the team learned from that, because you could have used them in that game, I'm sure, but you held to your discipline and you held to what you're saying. That had to be a growing moment for your program.
Well, one thing about it, me and Tommy talked about it, and I told him, before the season started, I'm not big on rules because at one point in time, someone's going to test you, whether it be the star running back or the last guy on the totem pole. Mm-hmm. In this situation, no rules are going to be acceptable to one guy or another. Everybody's rules are going to be different. Yeah. I mean, you'll use discipline for your star running back because if they see that you discipline him,
yeah,
everybody else going to fall into place. You know what I mean? And as well as the other way around. So you'll find out that they say, well, if he going to do what he did to our star running back, just think what he going to do to me.
Now, Sherman, you played at Aliquippa, graduated from Quip, played at Ohio U, State. You're still at Quip, Coach Quip. You're all Quip all the time. So you played for some legends, coached with some legends. You learned from them. Talk to us about what you learned from who you played for and who you coached with.
Well, you of course you got to start off with the Godfather, Coach Don Yanessa.
Right.
I mean, in his situation, there was only one way to coach. And that's the right way.
Right.
You know what I mean? You learn a little bit about Mike Spianik, no nonsense, but let's do everything right.
Okay.
I mean, he was big on repetition. And, of course, Coach Frank Morocco,
right.
Frank was just a no-nonsense guy. no nonsense guy. You know what Frank said, how it was gonna go, and that's the way it went. So,
but in addition to that, they also cared about you guys as kids and as men.
Oh, without a doubt. You know, them guys would, you know, it worked both ways because, you know, like still to this day, if one of them guys asks me to do something, I'm there right now. It's just the relationship that we all have in Aliquippa because do understand, because I'm coaching over Ambridge, once equipped, always equipped.
Always will be. There's no doubt.
You know what I mean? So that's just
the same thing with
that's just the way we are. You know what I mean? You guys talked earlier about did I get any, you know, poking because I was the coach over Ambridge and I still coach over Aliquippa. It's not even like that. You know, it's the respect that we all have for each other.
So, Tommy, kind of the same vein. You guys are trying to create that now with these kids at Ambridge. Once a Bridger, always a Bridger. Trying to create that same mentality. You played, he was an assistant coach. You played for some of the same men he talked about. Did you ever test any rules? Did you ever see kids that you, as a player, did you try to get away with stuff, and what happened?
Nah, I mean, you never, I mean, from day one, you kind of, you know, everybody everybody had a little discipline at some point, but from day one, you already knew no nonsense, you know, it was no nonsense, you know, team. You know, if you didn't have the proper socks on, you wasn't playing.
Okay.
You know, so that, and I ain't even playing with you. So if you didn't have the game socks on that we gave you, you was being left in the locker room at that game. So if it's, I mean, we had guys draw on logos to make it look like the actual socks. I mean, it's crazy because if you didn't have them socks, you wasn't playing. So if it's something that small like that, you could just, you know, imagine how something big would be. But everybody, you know, was just locked in. It's a respect thing more important.
John?
You know, Sherman, I wanted to talk to you, and like you said, all three of the coaches there at Aliquippa you mentioned all had the one thing, well, two things in common. One, they won a lot of games, and two, they did things the right way. But they all had little different personalities. Don was more of a showman, a Hollywood guy. He was related to the media well, the people in the community, you know, and then you had Frank, who was an emotional guy, could get fired up kind of easily. He did it me once or twice over the years. Yeah. And then you had Mike, who was just kind of that no nonsense. I don't really care what people think about me. This is what I'm going to do, and I'm just going to do it. I mean, how much of a unique was that to work for three very unique people who were really different?
Well, the good thing about it, that's why all three of them are in the Hall of Fame, because they all did it their way. You know what I mean? And I'm just fortunate to, like I told my friend over here, I'm just fortunate to grab a little piece of everything that they installed in me, and then do what I have to do as far as anything and go from there. They've made me into a better person, you know, more than anything. I was a better person, you know what I mean? That made me, all three of them made me into a better person more than anything.
If you would have to compare, which of the three do you think you're most like? Or is that maybe too hard of a question?
We should ask Tommy that.
Yeah, maybe.
I'm like them all.
Yeah.
I'm a combination of everybody. That's the correct answer. You can't just say one. Yeah. I'm a combination of everybody.
It's hard to duplicate all three of them, but if you, like I said, if you just grab a little piece from each of them,
he's Sherman McBride.
No matter what.
He's Sherman McBride. Yeah. We're here with the Ambridge coaches, head coach Sherman McBride, assistant Tommy Campbell. We're on Beaver County Radio in the Coach's Corner. We're going to take another break here on WBVP 1230, 1460 WNBA, and the new 95.7 AM and 95.7 and 99.3 FM here on Beaver County Radio.
Carver Construction in New Brighton is proud of all of our local football teams. They know what it takes to be a winner. It takes dedication, talent, and desire to do your best. All the things Carver Construction offers its customers. They've been doing it since 1982 for both residential and commercial renovations. Carver Construction, 1090 3rd Avenue in New Brighton. Building dreams one home at a time. Call 724-847-1572 or visit their website, carverconstructionpa.com.
You can run out and buy a new car if you can find one or afford one. or you can take good care of the one you have. Take it from Steve at Junction Auto Service. It's all about maintenance. A lot of things have changed in the past few years, but taking care of your car isn't one of them. Now more than ever before, it makes good sense to maintain the vehicle you have. And nobody does it better than Junction Auto. Mention you heard this ad and get 10% off any visit. Visit junctionautoservice.com or stop by their location at 425 Constitution Boulevard, New Brighton.
Did you know Fisher's New Brighton Foodland is as close as a click? That's right. If you're watching or listening to this broadcast online, open up a new window and click GroceryStoreNewBrighton.com and start shopping right now. Fill your grocery order from New Brighton Foodland and follow Beaver County High School football all at the same time. What could be better? Fill your shopping cart up without ever leaving the sidelines. Visit GroceryStoreNewBrighton.com.
No matter what the circumstances, no matter the reason, one of the few things that is left when a loved one passes on are the memories. Staging those memories in an honoring way is one of the reasons so many people have chosen J&J Spratt Funeral Home. A person's legacy depends on a lifetime of accomplishments and then how they are remembered. J&J Spratt Funeral Home has helped start the process of creating positive legacies for over 70 years. Visit jjsprattfh.com. Joseph M. Spratt, Supervisor and Funeral Director.
Back for one final segment on the Coach's Corner, wrapping things up. Mike Azadi and John Perrotto. Just got a chance to talk to Sherman McBride and his assistant coach. Interesting two guys. Interesting program. A program on the rise. A lot of people don't know about them, but I think a lot of people are going to start seeing more and more about this team.
Well, I think so, and I think anybody that knows Sherman McBride or Tommy Campbell over the years not surprised that Ambridge is headed in the right direction. They're having success, and I think everybody knows they'll have more success. I think they're winning people. They came from a winning program in Aliquippa. They're good people. They're well-respected people. When you have coaches like that, the chances of success are very good, and you can already see the imprint they're making on the Ambridge Bridgers.
And a lot of people don't realize they don't just coach. They have regular lives, families, other jobs. Most high school coaches, some are athletic directors, some are teachers, but they're not just coaches like you are in college. So they're dedicated. And we're fortunate in Beaver County to see a lot of programs like that. And it's good to see programs that have struggled come back on the rise because it makes everybody else better and a better brand of football every Friday night.
Yeah, it really does. And, there's nothing more sad to see kids put in the effort and not get rewarded for it. And I think of Elwood City kind of were in a similar boat that Ambridge was. They lost 20-some games in a row. Then they finally win last Friday night. They beat Carleton. I mean, I can only imagine how exciting it is to those kids that just week after week after week had to deal with losing, and a lot of times losing by big margins. And Hopewell the same way. They won a game this year. They were 0-9, 0-10, whatever it was last year. So yeah, I think you're always happy to see any program start to turn things around.
Well, John, it's been a lot of fun, and we want to thank again Sherman McBride from Ambridge, head coach. Thanks to him. Thanks to Tommy Campbell. Thank you, John, for joining me. Thanks to our producers, Curtis Walsh, and the other young man's name, I cannot remember. Zach, I apologize. New, and it's my fault for not writing his name down. Thanks to all you at home for watching and listening here on 1460 WNBA, 1230 WBVP, 99.3 and 95.7 FM, Beaver County Radio. Go Bridgers!